Hello, SFL. It's Guy and Will. We are coming in after week one of playoffs. We are officially into week two of playoffs. We'll go over some of the games, I guess.
Can't believe it.
Yeah. Um, as you see, Martial Law took me out 217 to 207. I was the second highest scoring team in the playoffs and lost to Martial Law. Elderly Gangbang put Human's shitty team out of its misery. How do you make it to the playoffs and only score 100 points in the playoffs?
Don't know. I don't know. I mean, D Haas must be kicking himself.
Seriously. And then Midnight Ride played Truck Stop Glory Hole 176 to 170. And then in our consolation bracket, we only had one game last week. It was House of Priapism versus Campbell Soup. House of Priapism 217 points. If he was still in the playoffs, he would 100% be guaranteed to round two, but he didn't make it. So at least
It's
he's
the
fighting for that
Bears. The
victory.
Bears came out for him.
Yeah. I wonder if Gary's gonna come out with a another HBO team next year.
Hopefully, it's not the Chiefs because he's already got the Chiefs as an HBO
Right,
team.
right. Um, so yeah, let's go over these games. Let's start with the constellation bracket real quick. We got House of Brigade Prism 217 versus Campbell Soup 94.
I mean,
Uh,
I think Adi just didn't care. He gave up.
it, did he give up or is his team just trash?
I mean,
I mean,
both
this
obviously.
is him setting his best lineup.
Is it? I guess Gino got hurt.
uh,
I
yeah,
mean, what else is he supposed to put?
he's
Spears. You couldn't have put Spears in, not knowing he was
Spears,
gonna have that
Bateman,
game.
Gainwell. They went off on his bench, but
Yeah.
like, are those guys that you're starting anyway? They just
I mean,
had
he
good
could have
weeks.
started Bateman, but I don't know. Did he start
Over
Bateman
who?
over? Debo hasn't been doing well, but you gotta start Debo. I don't know. Yeah, no, I guess this is his best lineup.
But
You're right.
yeah, just team is just absolute trash this week. This is so terrible. Look at both his quarterbacks scored 10 or lower. Jonathan Taylor fumbled to the touchdown.
Oh my gosh, that hurt me so bad. I lost a fantasy playoff because of that.
Are you
I lost
serious?
by 6 points.
And on the other side of the field, Gary had Jared Goff putting up a very nice number,
Yes.
and like the rest of his team did pretty good. Neighbors got 27, James Conner 34. Like it was just solid outing. 217 points. That's great.
Listen, if you put his team, if he keeps the same team next year, his team's going to be really good. Tank Bigsby's ready to blow up. Neighbors looks like a star. Xavier Worthy looks like he's going to be in that offense and doing that role, catching all those balls, even with Rice coming back. Like, his team is nasty for next year.
Yeah, maybe. But we're playing this year, so wah,
Yeah.
wah. Let's go over the really shitty playoff game.
Uh-huh.
Elderly Gangbang versus Human. Razor's Edge. 100 points, just as bad as Adi's team.
Why did he start? He should have just not started a quarterback. Like, what was the point?
1 point from QB2. I mean, we said it all along. This team was bad. I had no idea how it made it into the playoffs, and then it got injured, which made it even worse. And
Mm-hmm. I
just how
mean,
it goes.
he put a lot of worth into the Pickens, and then Pickens
Hmm.
gets hurt, and so you know, jeez. Okay, I mean, if you look at Rodgers having 45 points in that overtime game,
I know, crazy.
um, that ain't happening again. So we'll talk about it when we get to our playoff, the second round. But
I don't know, man. It feels like Rogers is finally like, oh, just throw the ball to Devontae Adams. It feels like he's finally just like getting that, you know, like
yeah,
maybe
well,
that's
I'm
what he
okay if he
does.
throws to Devontae Adams next week because he's got Garrett Wilson. So there you go.
Um, but yeah, Holden had an okay game, 160 points, all in the back of Adams or Rogers, just like you said, 45 points. Gibbs had 32, and you know what? Gibbs is going to show up next week too without David Montgomery.
Yeah, I mean they are playing. I think they're playing San Francisco's defense. No, was that last couple weeks ago? Who are they playing next week? They're playing a decent
Chicago.
Chicago. Okay, it's not that good, but they're up front. They're okay. So maybe he doesn't have his best game. I'm hoping. I'm hoping for the same type of Minnesota Viking game where like the Bears don't score, and
Hmm.
so that means that they just are running the ball a little bit here and there and just not scoring a lot of points because that's the thing. I'm okay if he gets 100 yards. I just don't need him to have 2 touchdowns and a receiving touchdown. That's what will kill me.
Yeah. Um. But yeah, this is just a shellacking. There's not really much to talk about on this game. Uh, and then we had two really close playoff games. We want to do yours first?
Sure.
Midnight Ride, one truck stop glory hole. Midnight Ride 176 to 170.
I mean, I was scared after Thursday night because Brock Purdy getting 8, Jennings getting
Mm-hmm.
7.
Yeah,
It was
that was rough.
not. It was rough, and it was because of the weather. Weather sucked, and I should have known, but whatever. And then Cooper gets 12 targets and then 0 targets. Like how? That's
Yeah,
impossible.
in a
That's
48
crazy.
point game too.
Yeah, I didn't get it. And like I was watching the game, the whole game, and he was barely on the field in the fourth
Really?
quarter. Like he basically was a blocker. They were putting Samuel on the field. They were putting Keenan Coleman was on the field. They had 2 tight ends always. It was just a weird game. Um, but Allen had a monster game for me, which was nice.
Uh,
Now, go
the
ahead.
saving grace that would allow him to win is if he started Brian Thomas.
Yeah, but you could with that team, you don't start Brian
You
Thomas.
don't start Brian Thomas like
Yeah,
Cup, Chase Jefferson,
yeah,
and like
y-
you could debate like, okay, well, maybe I don't start Adams and start Brian Thomas instead. Well, that would have been even worse. So
yeah.
because
And Adams, that was this 80-yard catch. I was looking at my phone, all of a sudden I saw 80-yard touchdown. I was like, oh
yeah,
gosh, who was it
he
to?
scored like 2 touchdowns and 145 yards in like
Yeah, crazy.
4 minutes. Like four for like a 4 minute span in the fourth quarter. It
Now,
was crazy.
now Monday night, obviously he needed like 75 points to beat me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you were watching the game, the
A
Minnesota
little,
game.
yeah.
They threw a ball to Jefferson at the 2-yard line, and he was an easy touchdown. And he was just looking to score, and he dropped the
Oh,
ball.
yeah.
If
That would have
Jefferson
done it.
catches that game, it's over. I
Yeah.
lose. I mean, it was so sick. Me and Jordan were talking about it in a chat just between the two of us, and I was like, "Wow, I got very lucky there." So I got lucky. I should not have won this week based upon
I mean,
my
Josh Allen
lineup.
saved you, right? 59 points from
Oh, of
Josh
course.
Allen. What a monster. AJ Brown also had a good one, 30 points.
Hmm.
Um,
But a very
Jacobs,
mediocre week. Jacobs had 23 in the first half.
yeah, well, and then disappeared in the second
I
because I
know.
guess they just
So
didn't need him. I guess.
I know. So we'll see. Um, I'm not going to be starting. If you look at my bench, like Hill had a big game, but
Yeah, you're not starting
he's.
him.
I'm not starting Hill, and Kincaid might be coming to my starting lineup for Coleman. I mean, not Coleman, not for Cooper. We'll see though.
Uh, this Cooper's always been like this though. He's always been
I
like
know
give
he's
you a
back and
30-point
forth.
game,
I
40-point
know.
game, and then nothing. And then our last game was my game against Rob Marshall Law, 217 against my 207. I'm absolutely crushed. Thought I actually had a chance multiple times during this. Only the reality is I lost because of injuries and one decision. You told me to start Laporta over Quentin Johnson, and had I done that, I would have won by zero point 0.5 points or zero point 0.6 points.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like he's coming up, but like,
This was his best game of the season. It's the first time he's ever
what
gotten
was
10
it?
targets. Yeah, his first 100 yard game of the season and his first 10 target game of the season.
But he'd had like 18 the last couple games, right? Almost
So
17.
16, 18,
Yeah,
and then a 4.9.
yeah.
You know,
So he'd been coming on a little bit, not much, but a little bit. So,
I mean,
um,
the 18-point game, he had 6 yards and 2 touchdowns.
well, there you go.
Yeah, it's a little hard to trust stuff like that, you know. And then all of a sudden, he finally, and it was really because Jared Goff had like that massive game, right? Just went Super Saiyan, was just passing like crazy, and then he was just part of it. I didn't feel like I
Yeah,
could trust him. Zach Ertz was my best tight end. I plugged him in instead, and he got injured, and also Barkley got injured. Like that.
yeah, he did.
That's really what killed me. Ertz and Barkley got injured. Ertz got hurt in like early second quarter, I believe, was out all game practically. And then Barkley got hurt early, and then once he came back, which was like he was out for basically a quarter, and when he came back, he wasn't the same player. So
Did you? He started Addison instead of Bowers. What was the difference in points? Because we thought for sure he was starting Bowers.
yeah, I thought he was starting Bar. It's 8 points, which would have not
Wow,
have
so
been
a bit
enough. Yeah,
9. He still won, but by barely.
yeah, hmm
Gotcha. But that was a good start by him. I mean, Addison's looking strong in that offense
yeah.
now.
Yes, he is.
Especially Jefferson is not getting the. He's not. He's still getting the targets, but it's mostly down the field. Where Addison's getting all those little slant and everything, which is what you need.
Terry McLaurin came out, had a great game, 2 touchdowns. Um, the swamp stack, as I call him, the Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin is so good.
And
Um,
Higgins had a good game.
Higgins, yeah, I mean Higgins
I
been
was
good for the last
surprised. I
couple
was
games.
surprised. But if you think about it, like you switch the two, Mixon shouldn't have had 9 points, and Higgins probably should have had 22. But more than likely, he still scores that amount if you switch those two, kind of thing. Like Mixon was usually scoring fairly well.
Yeah, Mixon's been like in the 20-30 range.
So
Yeah, he's had two
yeah,
down games recently though. The Tennessee game
well,
was real rough, 8 points, but
and now they get a Kansas City defense. That's tough. I think
yeah,
the issue, and we'll look at it in the games, but the issue is that there's some strong teams, but they have some weird matchups going into this week
hmm
16.
hmm yeah. Well, sucks to suck, and I suck, so I guess I'm out of the playoffs now.
Well,
Uh,
let's just say that you were 1 week away from not being in the playoffs. It wasn't like you were dominating all year long. So
I mean, I have an 8-6 record.
I know, but I'm just saying, like you can't feel too bad. It wasn't like you were in my shape, where I was 10-2 or 10-3,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then I lose to 7-17, even though Jordan's not the usual 7-7.
yeah. I mean, Jordan shouldn't have been 7-7. Jeez, yeah. I just wish we had implemented, like the rules for playoff seeding. Like, definitely going to propose both of the rules that we talked about going into next season because I think that would make a big difference for how these
I think
teams
it's
feel.
fair. I think it makes sense. I mean, I don't want Dylan to have to do all that work, but with the new rule of points person getting in, granted, it did not make a difference this year,
Yeah, at
but
all.
in
Yeah.
future years, if somebody just had the worst luck and they're now 6-8, but are a monster in points, then I don't want them if I'm the number 2 seed and did my job.
And I can understand, like, people not voting for reseeding, right? Because, like, the two ideas would be, like, do a reseed where the division winner isn't automatically one of the top three and you reseed again after
Mm-hmm.
you make the playoffs. That's one of the ideas. But the other idea where you get to pick your playoff opponent for, being the top seed, like, that's just a cool idea. I think that's just like trash talking to its fullest. I'm gonna pick who I'm gonna beat this week. Like I
Mm-hmm.
it's just good.
Well, I think that one will be easier to pass than the reseeding,
Yeah,
just
me too.
because
Me too.
I don't think I do think it should matter that you won your division, because you could have been in a division like their division where a lot of good teams. I would say out of the divisions, they had the four best teams as far as um, top to bottom. So they had the 4 best teams top to bottom, even though I know we had 3 got in our division. But those teams beat each other up, and that's why the records were so low. So
Yeah. Um, let's start with the consolation games.
okay.
We'll do House of Priapism versus All Hail Washington Commanders. Um, Gary just came off of a very high scoring game, 217. I don't think Kyle has broken 200 a single time this year.
He did 1 week. No?
One
Maybe
week.
not.
1 week.
1 week, okay.
He had 1 week
Beat
where he scored
D-Haas.
D Haas 215, and then he had a 195 as well. But
Okay.
okay,
No.
well maybe I shouldn't talk so much shit. He has had one good week this year. Um, yeah, his team is kind of hurt in a
I mean,
little
he
bit.
probably will start Richardson over Herbert. Maybe. Just because Herbert might not be running.
And against Denver too.
Yeah. And it's Thursday night after that injury. He's got
Yeah,
Tennessee.
maybe.
It's not, neither matchup's great.
Yeah. I don't feel good about either.
I mean, hopefully he takes out Allen from the Jets.
Who's he gonna start in his place?
I don't know. You can start anybody. Who's in the anybody?
Jalen
Tolbert?
Tolbert. Yeah, I would start Tolbert. I would start Tolbert.
Yeah, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay
Tampa Bay
defense
sucks.
sucks.
They suck so bad.
Yeah, I mean, granted, the Rams defense also sucks, but not their running game. They're pretty good against the run.
And Brees Hall is back now too, so Allen shouldn't
Yeah.
need to line up regardless. And now we got Jared Goff on the other side. We got Goff.
Oh my gosh, he's got what a game! He's got Detroit and Chicago playing. Like his whole team is playing against each other.
Yep. He's projected to win. His Optima's 130 versus Kyle's current 120, 118 with the lineup that he has at the moment. But
So we can say it, right? He would beat Human right now easily.
oh yeah.
Human's team is bad.
Yeah. I think Gary could beat Holden's
I mean,
team.
obviously he would have won everyone last week. He would beat everyone last week, but
yeah,
he's dangerous if the Bears go well.
Honestly, you guys got lucky that he didn't make it in.
Yeah.
I
think he'll probably win this whole thing as far as the consolation.
I think his team is him or Dylan's team. One of the two are the least likely to be renamed, in my opinion. But yeah, I think Gary gets through Kyle. Talking about Dylan team, we got Dylan versus D Haas, Magic School Bus versus Haas.
Fun game, even though it's a consolation.
Yep. 130 to 132 is the projected score.
It's just all about injuries. I see Dylan winning because of that. I mean, Evans is playing pretty well though right now.
Evans great.
I don't know. His receivers are. It's really the running back. Like D-Haas is just throwing some guy in now as a backup to do something.
He's done that all season. He's just.
I know.
His running backs. That's why he lost. He went 0 running back strategy, and then this just didn't work this year.
He had Mason.
Yeah, he had Mason for a while.
He rode Mason for a long time, and then it was over. It's interesting. I mean, I obviously quarterback wise, it's pretty much a wash between the two. Both great quarterbacks. Well, Mahomes is injured.
Yeah, that's true.
Is he going to play?
I think he plays.
Because if he doesn't play, I mean, granted, it's Houston. I think if it's not Houston, he doesn't play. Like if it's not against a team that like Houston or the Bills or whatever, like he won't play that game.
Who is even Mahomes' backup?
Carson Wentz.
Oh, it is Carson Wentz.
That's why G-Hole picked him up. Yo, G-Hole, you have no game this week or next week.
You're out, done. Bud. You're done. It's over. You're playing for nothing. You're not even playing, actually.
Yeah.
I like Dylan's bench better too. The question
Yeah.
is the starting lineup better? That's the question.
Well,
you know what? I think Dylan has the better lineups or matchups. To be honest with you, I think
yeah.
he's gonna have
I don't
some good
like.
games.
Does he have another tight end? Because Otten's been nowhere near what he's been
Yeah,
since Mike
Mike
Evans
Evans is
came back.
back. Mike Evans came back and
Well, he's starting both Evans and sorry,
yeah,
he's going against Evans. But does he have another tight end?
Noah
No,
Gray.
no, and you won't start no Gray. I know that he's been getting some touchdowns lately, but still,
Yeah,
unfortunately, he's kind of stuck there. And Kraft's the same way though. Kraft, if he doesn't get a touchdown, he's not worth anything to Green Bay's offense.
maybe there's someone on the waiver wire that you could pick up. But yeah, it's been rough for tight end spot here for Dylan, but
Mhm.
I do think he beats him. I mean,
I do
like
too.
we're talking about Joe Burrow, Sutton, and Evans and Collins, right? Like those are the dudes on this Seahawks team that has to carry everybody else
Yeah,
because
against
the running backs are bad.
Ahmad and Stafford. I mean, he has the better, not names, but the better high side. See, and ceiling, and Dylan's got the better basement. So it's the question is, C.J. Stroud against Kansas City, can he be a monster? And if he does, he's probably going to Nico Collins because he ain't going to Tank Dell. I can tell you that. I know that from experience.
Yeah, this is going to be really close. Going to be a good game. I think Dylan pulls through though at the very end.
I think Diaz should just throw it because he doesn't care about his name. He changes his name every year, so it
That's
doesn't
true.
really matter.
That's true.
So,
But
so
then
just let.
again, he doesn't want to be renamed Sucks Dick for Dick, right? So
That's true.
it's one thing about not caring about your name. It's another one, when you know your name is going to be absolutely awful, and you're going to have to carry that around,
And
and
probably
and,
win a championship.
and then win a
Hopefully,
championship with it,
yeah.
and then just yeah.
That's
Uh,
why. That's why I need to win it this year, so my actual name gets on the title
mm.
before I get knocked out.
We'll go to our number one seed, Cream Pie
Mm,
Cupcake versus Martian Law.
good game.
Rob's projected to win 144 to 143.
Yeah, I talked to Victory to actually today. I told him that I think that Rob's gonna win. I told him that I think he's gonna win just because his team is just so consistent. I would not put it past
Did you
him
see this
to.
lineups though? Did you see these matchups? I mean,
Well, that's what
his
I'm
tight
saying. The
end
matchup
matchups are
wise,
good, but like
yeah.
the
The
quarterback and running backs, yikes.
No, I don't. His matchups are not great. I can say that. And if you look at his matchups, they're not any better. Victor's matchups aren't the best either. But it's all about Jackson and Love. If they have monster games, he could win. But
I'm
I still think that it's gonna be Robert.
I gonna sound like an asshole for this, but the only reason that Victor's team has been so good is because he has Lamar Jackson.
Hundred
That's it.
percent.
That's it.
Same.
That's it. He drafted Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson is like consistently getting 50 points. It is
Yeah.
so ridiculous.
Same thing with me. The only reason I'm good is because of Allen. I'll take it. That's fine. He's been a monster.
Um, the rest of his team just isn't that good. I mean,
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm not sure. Does he have anybody else? I'm not looking at his team right now, but he can't be starting forward this week, right? Like Chubb's gonna play.
is he gonna play?
I thought so. I thought he was still. I thought he was healthy. Is he not?
I don't know, but if he sits forward, who does he play instead?
Najee, Baltimore defense.
Baltimore's defense rough.
I
Is
mean, he's doing what
Johnson
they.
doing anything? Johnson's catching some
I mean, he had an
passes.
amazing game last week, but I
Yeah,
don't see that happening again.
just breakaway
It's like
plays.
Hill.
Yeah,
It's like Justice Hill having the game he had last week. It
yeah,
ain't happening again.
man. Um, it's close. and Rob
Oh,
has some really rough matchups. But I don't know. I can't. I think Rob has the best team. I can't go against it. I think Rob wins.
well, he's definitely starting forward. I just looked it up. Chubb broke his foot. He's on the
Oh,
injured reserve.
okay. Yeah,
It
that
just got
changes a lot.
announced 2 hours ago. So
Yeah,
yeah, he's done. So obviously, Ford's the guy.
yeah, that changes a lot.
I mean, my thing, and I had it in my other, I have it in my other fantasy leagues. Chase Brown is just doing work right now
Yeah, it's
in
crazy.
Cincinnati.
Absolutely crazy.
So I'm surprised they still starting Higgins.
Where
I would start Ridley or Ladd over Higgins, but you know,
he
it
claimed
might be a good move. I don't know.
you were the first to claim. No, no. What was it? No, D Haas dropped them. So D Haas drafted Chase Brown, dropped them, picked him back up 4 days later, dropped him 3 days later, and then Rob picked him up for $3. And then after once Rob's picked him up, crazy, blew up.
31-21. Jeez, sick. It's sick, but yeah, I'm in agreement with you. You know, the computers say he's gonna win. I think that Rob's gonna win. Um, his team is just too consistently scoring 200 points every week. I mean, Martian Law is gonna have to have at least 215, at least
I
to win.
do see a world where Mixon and Chase Brown have bad games, and Daniels has a bad game because Daniels has a bad game, McLaurin has a bad game, and then
Mm-hmm.
Rob is just like slowly relying on the tight ends, and Bowers now doesn't have the same quarterback anymore, and then, you know, I do see a world where Rob loses and loses by a lot. Like he gets his ass absolutely spanked. I can see that happening, but I don't think it will.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking just planning ahead, and I would love it if Robert lost, only because his matchups in Week 17 are
Or juicy.
tasty.
Yeah.
Yes, so I would not want to meet Rob in the championship game just because of that. Where victors are a little bit less spicy, some good, some bad, but very mediocre comparatively. So I'd rather play Victor if it was me. That's for sure.
And talking about you, you're playing against Holden this week. Elderly Gangbang versus Midnight Ride. You're favored by 3 points. I'm
Mm.
surprised that he is projected as high as he is, honestly.
Me too, 100%. I am shocked, especially with like Guerrero,
But
getting 12 points.
Tua's playing against San Francisco. Like,
Yeah,
he's got Tyreek Hill and Tua versus San Francisco. That's gonna be bad. He's gonna have to. Rogers is gonna have to try to carry him, and playing against the Rams, who have been not that
yeah.
good. So,
It's a Rogers and Gibbs game, kind of thing. So
but he's
I'm
probably gonna bench Garendo and put in Brees Hall. At least that's what.
I would think so, which would put him as, oh no, I'd still be up by a little bit, but it would put him pretty close to me because obviously it's an extra
Yeah.
points. Still, MVS is killing me because he put MVS in the team. You'll see why later, but it's just funny. And he
uh,
picked up my guy Coker. You dog! I had him for so long, and then I had to drop him. He's gonna be something next year. I think
yeah. Maybe. Maybe
maybe
not.
maybe not. Well, TJ had his first really good week last week, where he was just consistently getting the ball. So that's a worry for me. It is against Seattle in Seattle, so hopefully bad weather like usual. But I'm liking my team. I just don't like the Allen versus New England matchup. Not a
Why?
big fan of it.
Why? You just don't think New England can put up enough points, and then they'll just.
Correct. I don't think they're going to put up enough points, and they'll probably not throw the ball that much. Granted, I know Allen's worth is on the ground sometimes more because the way he does stuff, but like it could be a game where he scores his 30 points, but it's just ugly instead of him scoring his 40, 50-point games like he has been doing. I think he'll still score 30, but it's not going to be pretty. And I'm hopeful that Kincaid can have a good game.
Yeah. Uh, I'm
My
gonna
only
say
worry is
something
should I
blasphemous.
start Dell or should I start Downs
I was gonna say Cooper.
or Cooper? I just don't want to put Cooper in, like, 'cause that's three. I'll have three different players in 2 games on the same team.
Uh, I think that's true. I would definitely start Downs over Dell. Personally, I would 100% start Downs over Dell.
I mean, the most he's had since week 10 is 13.
I know Richardson sucks. I'm with you,
I know.
but look at this: 8 targets, 7 targets. He's bound to get some decent passes eventually,
Mm.
right? Like, it can't
I mean,
just be
that's what he
bad
was for me
games.
all year. Was Granted, he also had Flacco for a
Yeah,
while.
just like if you just look at here, this is the Flacco weeks 28, 22, 30, 26.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, why, if you're a coach, right? And I know Richardson's your guy right now. It's fine. But why, if a coach, you just say, okay, Richardson, you need to understand that this guy puts up points, or not points, but puts up yards if you get him the ball. Just throw little outs and stuff. Don't even have to run anything. Just look for him real quick. Like, why did that go away from everything where they're not even looking for him as much as they have been? So it doesn't make any sense. Sometimes football makes no sense to me.
I just think coaches, we give them too much credit. I don't
True.
think they're anywhere near as good as we think they are, honestly, at their jobs.
Yeah, I mean, my team, I still think that my team is very short on talent. I've got a good probably 7, but my 8 and 9 are very weak. Where, like, Jennings could have a good game, could have a bad game. He's usually okay. Tank Dell, same thing. Should I play? And then they got Downs on the bench. It's not like it's got much behind it, so I'm gonna have to go back and forth on it, see which one I want to start going into this week. But I
I
mean,
think
I feel good about my chances this week.
I think Cooper's your high ceiling play, but again, you got Kincaid already in there too. So
And Kincaid looked good. They were getting them the ball, and I don't think. Here's the thing:
why
I
does
don't
he
think
have
his
all these zeros?
because he was out. He was hurt.
Oh,
He'd been hurt the last 4 weeks.
okay.
So, my thing with him is that he's going to be on the field. Just him and Knox are going to be in the field a lot. Where they've got so many wide receivers. Like I said, Cooper wasn't on the field that much.
I would start Cooper and Downs.
Would you?
That's who I would start. Yeah.
Okay.
But what do I know? You told me to start Laporte and I didn't, and I lost because of it. So you do you, bud.
Okay.
Um,
Well, but you still think I'm going to win this week?
yeah, he's got Tua Tagovailoa going up against San Francisco. Like, where are his points gonna come from? Gibbs gonna score 45. Like that's how he wins, right? Gibbs scores
I
45.
mean, Gibbs got to have a big game, but again, it's another Chicago game where is Chicago scoring that they need to score that many points, or like short fields? I mean,
I mean,
that's the problem.
he wins when a Rodgers Wilson stack blows up against the Los Angeles Rams. Let's say that just turns into a high scoring game and they're just passing back and forth like crazy, and then Wilson and Rodgers go off, right?
Hmm.
Gibbs scores 3 touchdowns because doesn't have Montgomery to pilfer of them anymore. And Kyler Murray finally gets aboard of Call of Duty and he starts practicing a little bit better and gets Marvin Harrison the ball.
Well, I think if he wins, then he has done something that he doesn't even believe in. There's no way he believes in starting 3 running backs. Like, no one should be starting 3 running backs, and he has been week after week. So that's the only thing that makes me comfortable.
I don't know. The
Is
running backs have been good this year, man.
I mean, he's not. It's not like he's got great running backs. Chuba has been good.
Chubb is good.
Gibbs has been good.
Gibbs is good.
They're both having no backups now.
Chuba's been a little worse since Bryce Young came back, I think. But
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited for this week. I'm excited to get into next week if I win.
I
Definitely.
think you win. Still, obviously. And then we have the Green Pie or Martial Law Midnight Ride Championship. I think is what's gonna happen.
Which is cool because two division teams.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Any activity that was important.
No, just just truck stop glory hole claiming people when he's not even playing anybody.
Oh, Kareem Hunt got picked up. Look at that.
Yeah, why? By who?
And Tim Patrick. We're just picking up randos now. I mean,
I mean,
this
Tim
waiver wire
Patrick.
is the worst.
Tim
Well, Tim
Patrick.
Patrick's been okay. I agree, but for the person that picked up Tim Patrick also has what's his face? The number one Detroit guy, wide receiver.
St. Brown.
Yeah, he's got St. Brown. He's not going to
Yeah.
start both St. Brown and him.
Dude, St. Brown just like those 40-point games, making him seem so much better than he is this year.
True. He hasn't been getting the ball much.
No.
It may be a Laporta game.
Yeah. Crazy. Well, that's that. Anything else you want to say to the people, Will?
No. Uh, Midnight Ride will be out tonight. Excited to share. It's a longer video, not that long, but still less. It's more than 10 minutes, so I apologize. But there's a special guest, so you need to see.
Oh, interesting. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
Well, alrighty. See you guys next week. Happy playoffs. Bye.